Okay, so every Monday we have a meetup within our community. It's for people to get together, either ask questions about their business or just have a sense of like belonging when you're working alone all the time. It's nice to meet up with people and be like, oh, let's just talk about our plans. And two of our community members who we see all the time, they're so engaged. We love them. We're like, we're taking June off. they One of them was genuinely just going on vacation and was like, I'm going to take the month of June off. This sounds like a good time. I'm a solopreneur. I can do what I want. The other one was taking the vacation because she was burned out and she genuinely needs to take June off to regain her pride, like just herself and refocus when she comes back with clarity and motivation. And it got me thinking, taking time off as a solopreneur can be very daunting. You think when you go off into solopreneurship and go off on your own, you're like, I can take vacation whenever I want. I have unlimited PTO days because I set my PTO days. But I know I'm guilty of this. And Joe, you are also guilty of this. Even when I'm on vacation, I want to just check in a little bit. We're good at disconnecting, but even when you're in Europe, I'm like, Joe, put your phone away. You're in Europe on a bike trip.
But, it's the other thing is it's not necessarily for a lot of solopreneurs PTO. It's UPTO, unpaid time off, right?
So glad you said that. Yeah, I think PTO rolls off the tongue, but you nailed it. Yeah. You don't get paid when you take time off unless you have systems in place to help you get paid and have that passive income going. But a lot of solopreneurs we talk to, they haven't set those systems up yet and they equate their time for money, which we try to get people away from. But just the reality is, yeah. But I think the reason why solopreneur vacations feel impossible is one, we've talked about the ownership trap, and it's very applicable here. When you leave, it feels like the business leaves too. And I think a lot of solopreneurs just have a fear set in of like, what if while I'm gone, my clients will leave? What if I miss an email and an opportunity is missed to sign a new client? What if since I'm not working that week of my vacation, I'm probably going to get less money this month, or I may get less money this month. Or if something breaks with a client, nobody's there to pick up the pieces. All of these things run through people's heads. And I think it's because of the ownership trap. But my question is for people that go through all those fears and have anxiety around it is how many times do those fears actually come true? I think it's easy to get anxious when you're leaving. But I want people to think about this. If your business can't survive you taking a week off, that is a design flaw, not a workload problem. And we talked about, and next week we're publishing the manifesto episode. But a lot of times the issues that they run into is a design problem with their business, and this is no exception. So I think before people take a vacation, they should do like a readiness audit, because I think most solopreneurs try to prepare for vacation like the week before, and then it's too late. They think that that's the time that they can be like, okay, I just need to double my hours or do this. And it's
Something
like, that
tells me
sounds
that
stressful.
you do this a lot earlier than a week.
I try to do this a lot earlier, but even still, like I think back to when I was pregnant and I was going to go on maternity, I thought I was way ahead, but then I unfortunately had to leave about 2 weeks prior than what I thought. And there were still 2 weeks of things that I could have squeezed into that preparation doc that I didn't quite make there, but you were a champ and figured it out.
All worked out.
But I think what vacation ready actually looks like is client expectations are already managed, not just during vacation prep. Your basic automations are in place year round, your systems are set up, and you have a clear open close signal for your business. And you set that up ahead of time. Now, if I leave tomorrow for 10 days, what would actually break? But instead, just if I leave tomorrow, it's so good to know my systems are set up. Because I think people dread going on vacation because they think of that week before or the week after, and it stresses them out. So get to a place where the week before and the week after are just part of your system. And you know who I think is really good at this is George. Don't you think?
George B. Thomas?
Yeah.
Yeah. He does it. I mean, he's not quite a solopreneur in the sense that he's got. Well, I guess he is actually. I mean, he's got some family members that that
And
are
I think they're
employees now, but
contractors or they're employees.
they're like family members, but it's a contractor that kind of keeps him running when he's gone. Jorge. Jorge is a HubSpot expert, so can pick up the slack on almost everything. And you don't get quite the same level of service maybe when you have multiple people there, but it all works out. And emergencies get handled by having that.
The
So that's an
process.
interesting model, yeah.
And these George and Jorge contract with Lifestar. They're on our contractor team, if that's a way to say that. But George, not notoriously, what's the good way of notoriously? Reputably?
Notably.
Notably, thank you. Loves his cruises. He loves going on cruises. And I know that when he's about to go on one, it doesn't seem like he's stressed out at all. He's like he just seems like he has his ducks in a row and he stops. And I always look at him as like, oh, you know how to take vacation correctly. So if you're trying to think of how to build this pre-vacation runway, I think the timeline starts like 4 to 6 weeks out, not 4 to 6 days. And I think with clients, you have to focus on client communication. You set expectations before you go. Not the night before. You say, hey, in a month, I am going to London, let's say, is a random example. And these are the things I'm going to get done with for you after. I am not going to be responding to anything while I'm gone. In the case of an emergency, excuse me, you can text me. I cannot guarantee that I'll respond right away because I'm in a different time zone. But it has to be an emergency. And this needs to be in your scope of work. A scope of work from the beginning from the beginning of your relationship. Just as you're designing your business, you need to be able to factor in these vacations as well and what that looks like and get it in writing so people understand that you respect your boundaries. I think in terms of project sequencing, you need to push or pull deadlines intentionally and let your client know. I think you need to decide if you are truly going dark or if you are scheduling time ahead, like, hey, you can either reach me by emergency or I'll be available from 1 to 2 Eastern on the Monday that I'm gone. If that gives you peace of mind to know that you're still kind of keeping some tabs on your business, you can do that. But if you want to check out completely, do it. Just get everything set up ahead of time. Set the away message on everything, on your social media, on email. Just make sure people know, communicate that.
I set up my vacations 6 months in advance, at least. I plan them in. I'm gone here, and it's just completely clear to everybody that I work with, and it just makes it easier because that's a lot of. I mean, I like to plan vacations. There's some people are like, oh, let's do this, and it's like great, but if you try to do that as a solopreneur, and you don't have a completely automated business, it's not going to, like you said, it's not going to go well. You have to plan early, but I will pull in another thing though, because you said, talk about a week, and sure, if you're, basically functioning at some level of time for money, right? And it might not just be time for money directly, but even if you're on something like some kind of a retainer, selling a product that, has a fixed price. If you're going away, you're probably going to have to make that up somehow to people, right? So if you're not available. And so that makes longer than a week vacations a little tricky, right? So let's say you wanted to go to Australia and, I don't know, I go to Australia for a week. I think you did that, right?
I just did that. I remember.
Do you recommend
it? No.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
I loved it. I had the best time, but it was just, I had a unique situation. It was the timing. Yeah, it was. I go for 2 weeks.
3. I would say 3. I won't go to and pull a month off. But the point being that my daughter does something that really impresses the heck out of me, and she works for a major major university as a data scientist, and she's like, have laptop, will travel. So she takes vacations, but works.
Yeah.
So she took off she had a conference to go to in Europe, and then just said, you know what, I'm going to go hang out in Berlin. I got some friends there. She was like 2 weeks after the conference, hung out in Berlin. They didn't care because she works remotely, and she has her laptop, and she just cranks out the work during the day, and you know. And so there is something to be said about a kind of a hybrid vacation where maybe you bring your laptop and you don't let everything go completely, but you kind of tone down and have a great experience and not have to give up on the business completely. I'm a big fan of like shut it down completely, 2 weeks of just not even thinking about it. But it's not real for some people, and at least something like that can maybe extend the vacation a little bit without having to give up or to engage 100%, but just keep the business kind of cranking along. I know that's maybe you don't agree, Carly, but I've seen her do this.
I agree, but I also think some people design their businesses just to run that way. Like that's their business, where they travel from everywhere. So it's not a vacation lens. It's I travel full time and I work.
This is my life, right? This is my life, yeah. But so we've known a bunch of solopreneurs that just live wherever they want to, whenever they want to, which I am jealous of. I would have loved to have been able to do that when I was young and single. But
it's so funny you say that because you and my dad are the exact same age. And when my husband and I were hitting the road in an RV for the first time, I was mid-20s. I obviously didn't need my parents' approval, but I like my parents. I love my parents, and I wanted their approval with this. And I was like, so here's the thing. We are going to, and at the time he was my boyfriend. I was like, we're going to travel around the country and work full time. I'm going to leave my job, but I will have another one lined up. And I was like so nervous because he was always the guy that was like, never have a job without another one lined up, blah, 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 blah. 401k, everything. And so I made a PowerPoint presentation and took him to a restaurant. And I was like, that way if he can't really get mad because there's people around. And he was like, if I had that ability and the technology existed when I was in my mid-20s, I would have done that in a heartbeat. And so it was like the opposite. But yeah, people that's the thing. Now people have the option to do that given the technology we have. So if that's your thing, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the other thing that people forget about is they think they prep so hard. Like the lead up to the vacation is planned. The vacation itself and what will happen is planned. But they forget about their re-entry plan. And that is a big part of the plan. And that's obvious. That could be the part of the most one of the most draining parts of the plan. Coming back to amount, even if you have all your systems in place, let's say you come back to a bunch of emails and all that, it's like a vacation killer. You're on this high on vacation and then you come back and you're just slammed.
Guilty.
Yeah, right?
Guilty.
So I think try to design your first day back before you leave. Block it as a transition day. Maybe even still tell clients that you're gone that day. So you give yourself a day to play catch-up work when people think you're still away. And that way you can come back refreshed once you're all caught up without people trying to interrupt you or distract you. And have a short reentry list waiting, like 3 to 5 items that you need to tackle. And like I said, give yourself a buffer day so you can process everything that came in. And also just, if you need 2 days to do that and you tell people 2 days, 1 day to just recover from the trip and another day to get caught up, that's fine. You're a solopreneur and you are allowed to do that. Again, you have unlimited days off. It's just the pay factor that you may not have unlimited of. But I don't know, Joe, anything you'd add to any of that?
No, I totally agree. I think that was a great point about the reentry because I've had a lot of vacations where I come back and I'm just like, everything's great. And then I get back in the office and sit down. I'm like, within like half a day, I'm like, all that relaxation is gone. And planning that in is a really good idea. I like that.
Well, and I have a challenge for our listeners. If it's summer and people are wanting to take those vacations, so just ask yourself, what is the one thing that would need to be true for you to take a full week off in the next 6 months? And is that one thing currently in your business? And if not, can you build it over the next 6 months? You can actually enjoy your vacation. So that is my challenge. And that's all I have for today. And take that vacation. Well, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. If you think this is the best episode you've ever heard in your entire life, and now you're going to go take that vacation, or not the worst, thank you, that's a better way. If this isn't the worst episode you've ever heard,
stealing from Jay Schwedelson.
Exactly. Leave that 5-star review. We would so appreciate it. It helps us spread the word to other solopreneurs leading a life first business. Share this episode with a friend or another solopreneur that you think would find it helpful. And subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. And we'll see you next time on the Aspiring Solopreneur.